Greetings, mortals, and welcome back to the blindness of eternity. Oh, I didn't let the full thing go off. That feels so awkward, actually, not hearing the full duration of that song. Anyway, when last we left off, we had just entered Twin Elms. I think that's what it's called. It's the place where the natives hang out, and they have a local ruins that they're actually allowed to hang out with, or in rather.
Yeah.
Alright, so we can leave these guys alone. These guys might end up being a problem later. I never trust any religious characters, just as a matter of course. So, I have a suspicion that whatever message I just delivered might have been a bad one. So, let's see. Okay, so some person here would like a word with us. Slender woman in dusty leathers locks eyes with you. It's good to see someone from more civilized lands around here. Okay. I'm learning firsthand the many shortcomings of Glanfathan hospitality. Interesting. I can almost forgive the hostility toward outsiders, but the temperate taverns and these watered-down drinks seem inexcusable. I hope I don't seem too forward, but I've heard of you. You're famed among the dozens, and that makes us allies. And allies, well, they help each other, do they not? Okay. Apparently I'm famed among the dozens. I guess all of the people that found out that I was just using the dozens for my own personal gain are dead now, so that's useful, I guess. I would like to remind everyone, because it has been a very long time, that I actually didn't do anything for the dozens. I didn't end up actually doing anything for them. So, let's go with number 1. My friends have drawn some unwanted attention. Glanfathan scouts, and not just any mob of local zealots, the Fangs. The Fangs are brutal, relentless bunch, eager to make an example of troublesome outsiders. As for why I need your help, I need someone to warn the expedition that trouble is coming. And I need someone ready to fight if it comes to that. With any luck, we'll reach my friends before the Fangs do, but if not, the Fangs have a reputation to uphold, so this might require spilling blood. I'm going to go with number 2. Just for setting foot in Air Glanfath is a good way to offend the tribes. I don't know how they picked up our trail. I suspect one of the newer scouts didn't cover his tracks well enough. When I spotted the Fangs, they were retracing a path the expedition had taken days before. I'm going to go with number 1. It was my turn to handle Far Patrol. I spotted the Fangs on my trek back to camp. I knew that rejoining the main group would risk leading the enemy right to the expedition. I know the woods and I know how to stay quiet, but I didn't want to stake my friends' lives on my ability to sneak past expert hunters like Fangs. One more. Where's that? If they noticed me warning my friends, we'd have been overrun. But if they notice me and some reinforcements, like, say, you, well, then we can at least scare them off or put up a good fight. Okay, I'm gonna go with number 3. I'd like to think we're on a mission of reclamation. It is said that our armies left behind many valuables in their hasty retreat from Air Glanfath at the end of the War of Flag Trees. So the way I see it, we're simply gathering up what our ancestors left behind. I doubt the Glanfathans agree with me on this. My expedition set out from Defiance Bay, heading directly east to cross into Glanfathan lands. I split off once we arrived at the Vale, the natural frontier between our nations. The plan was for me to keep my eyes on the Glanfathans while the main group scoured the target area. For days we eluded them. But things got wise to our presence. I'm gonna go with number 4, because, I mean, they are trespassing in someone else's territory. That's illegal. You'll forgive me if I'm not sympathetic with face painters and their barbaric laws. I'm not pretending that we're doing is noble. I just don't believe trespassing is a crime that warrants execution. Well, it's trespassing and thievery of powerful artifacts. I mean, they're not just... And she's trying to kill cops. Well, they're not exactly cops. The Fangs have a bad reputation. From my recollection, they're very, like, aggressive. But, like, she's not just trespassing. She's trespassing and stealing someone else's property, which is kind of a different deal. So, I'm gonna go with number 5. The time is of the essence. I understand your apprehension, but I hope you'll reconsider, and soon. I don't think I'm going to reconsider. This doesn't seem like something that I want to get involved in. It's tempting to get involved and then, like, just tell the authorities. But I don't think that's what I'm going to do. Oh, they changed the way that this illustrates. So it used to be that this just illustrated with like a red hand instead of a normal hand. Now it gives this like mask icon, which I assume is the thieving icon. So this is not someone with a name that's orange. And she has nothing to say to me apparently, so good for her. But yeah, I don't think that we want to have anything to do with this Gwyneth person. It's just not something that I want to get involved in. I know that it goes against video game logic to always get involved in everything, but it just doesn't seem like it's worth our time. You know, like I'm sure that the locals will deal with the situation as they see fit, and there you go. She'll pay that witch shill. You there? Have you come here to trade with the savages? Learn from my example and take your business elsewhere. Liars, cheats, swindlers. That duplicitous bitch of Elarhi. She claimed to be selling Ellard Golov flower buds, but all I have now is 6 bushels of common houseplant. The herbs are useless. I'll get my money back from that swindling savage. Okay. Going over to 2. Nothing of substance. She defended herself, of course, saying that herbs were legitimate. Why wouldn't she lie? No one will value my word over hers. Elarhi can lie with impunity when surrounded by her gangs of savage thugs. Number 3. Ellard Golog is a plant that grows in the jungles of Erglanfa. When dried and consumed or brewed in a tea, it's known to enhance one's drive for the better pleasures of life. I'm gonna go no further. Well, how can I sell a remedy I've not tested? Of course I tried the herb. Imagine what would happen if I peddled this pale imitation. The herb did not have the intended effect. The only thing it made hard was not vomiting. Okay, what would you intend to do about it? When I get my hands on... I'm in the savage's home court, so it's my word against her. Where does that leave me? I'd be a fool to threaten her here on tribal soil. I cannot sell this worthless herb to recover my coin, and I'm powerless to confront Elarhi. I don't suppose, if you were willing to mediate, perhaps, you could succeed where I failed. I would, of course, pay you handsomely for your troubles. I'll see what I can do. So let's figure out what was going on here. My assumption is that he purchased something that did not have the intended effect, but was not advertised as having the intended effect, because he didn't actually bother to ask whether this would do what he's been told by someone else it would do. That's very likely. So that's what I'm gonna go into this with the assumption of. I could be wrong. So if it turns out that we're wrong, then I guess we'll just have to figure out a way to deal with that if possible. So this is what? The Passage of the Six. I think that's where the Elder is supposed to be that they were talking about just now. Okay, so this is a protector. Oh, that guy's actually... Usually someone who's labeled as protector is going to say something like, "Oh, don't make any trouble in our market," or whatever. That guy was just like, "Oh, well, here's the information." It's like, oh, what a pleasant young man. So, let's talk to Tamra.
Many blessings, traveler.
I hold here the best hides in Erglanfa. Hides so thick the Stalgar can't claw through. Boots so supple they'll smother the sound of your steps. So let's retreat. I bear it on my skin. I sell hides from every one of Galawain's beasts. Estra Morwen come from every village to see them, and know us for great hunters. Every hide bears the tales of a great hunt, and our traders bear them in turn to every corner of our lands. So let's take a look here. We actually do have something in particular that we are looking for. Excuse me. Slightly premature, excuse me, but oh well. So,
Builder's wisdom to you.
Ah, I see that you heard it. Heard it? Goodblade has a voice, and it sings to its wielder. What weapon called you forward? I'm gonna go with number 1. My weapons speak for themselves, and every man or woman in this market knows my worth. Even that Tamara. I bear the knowledge my father held and his mother before him. Take up one of my blades, and you will hold a weapon 5 generations in the making. They say I should not waste such fine weapons on Estra Morwen. I say a good weapon lying in a rack is a true waste. Oh, that makes sense. Why can't I...
Many blessings, traveler.
See your list. There we go. So this is... training, coordinating. That's pretty cool. This is... Strike Hard, it's called. I like it. Okay, so I don't see anything else that's super interesting. So this gives plus 3 resolve. To be honest, the only thing that I actually care about here is something that gives me, actually, perception might be nice, except I think I already have plus 2 perception or something. Okay, so I'm not going to read out the descriptions for things that I don't actually pick up, so just make sure that I explain them. So here's Mazden. So tell me about your trait. My life is simple and it makes a poor tale. I tend the gardens in my herd and my family picks this delicious fruit you see behind me. The gods have been kind. That really is the kind of life that you want in a setting like this. Just nice and easy, don't have to worry about much. You sell crap from your own farm, not someone else's. Alright. Welcome, Estremor. Hello, he's not here, so I'm running the shop while she's away. If you're looking for herbs, tinctures, oils, or ointments, then I've got everything you need. Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna go with number 1. She lives not far from here. Climb up the stairs. At the top, there's a circle of ruins. You know it. It's on the north side of Hearthlock. Maybe her house is right there. The door faces those ruins. Well, I can't go there. I can actually pick up ingredients that are used for enchanting here. I'm not going to yet, because I see no reason to sort of... I tried to limit how much I'm going to purchase on runs like these. It's sort of like a soft restriction. So the obvious thing to do is to just purchase anything that's going to be used for crafting later so that you have it. But I'm going to be avoiding doing stuff like that just because I like making my life more difficult. So, I have the look of a hunter, and... just water it. Ooh, grants Fireball. That's pretty cool. Ooh, Ebony Spider figurine. That's pretty cool. So it summons a Widowmaker and 2 Widowmaker Spiderlings. That is a really cool item. I'm not going to pick it up, but this is something that would be extremely valuable. It's only 1 use per rest, which is not a lot, but for the fights that it's useful for, it would be very, very useful. Alright, so... because one of the issues that I have is not being able to summon any creatures at all until very late into the fight. So... Widowmakers are pretty good. I think they're second-tier spiders, and they do have, like, extremely potent poisons. So. Okay, so we are just gonna...
I think it may be time to strike up camp.
Nope. We still got stuff to do. So we're gonna talk to the Elder and hopefully get access to the whole place. It's kind of cool. Like, the fact that I have an honest reputation is really cool. Like, a lot of people have commented on my honest reputation. Apparently I'm more benevolent than honest, which is interesting. Not that Aldrea considers herself above lies and deception. It's just that she's not going to if there's any reason to think she might get caught. Reputations are important things after all.
I don't know if I should go through with this. Make the trade deal with the Anamenfath.
If a Valiant deal with the Glanfathins weakens the Deerwood, it could mean war for the Republics in the future.
Alright, so I'm gonna go on that one.
I could put the idea in the Anamenfath's head that the Republics are not interested in exclusive trade, but limited trade of goods that they do not already trade with the Deerwoodens.
So, I'm not sure how long it's been since we wandered around into a bunch of other things before this. So basically the idea here is that these guys are trying to create like an exclusive trade deal with these guys and basically cut out the middleman of the Deerwoodens, if I recall correctly. They want to get direct trade with all these guys. And the Deerwood is obviously in shambles right now. I don't necessarily agree that they're going to go to war over it, because the Deerwood can't afford to go to war because they don't have any children. So the Deerwood can't go to war because they will very quickly wipe out their own population if they do so. But it would be very bad for the Deerwood. And if the Deerwood does recover, then obviously they're going to have bad blood. I guess it could potentially lead to a war 50 years down the line. Let's see. I think Aldrea has a vested interest in the Deerwood being powerful as well, so she's not entirely without personal motivation here. But I think that in general, she would not. I'm having difficulty figuring. I have difficulty figuring out Aldrea's head sometimes because she's not terribly nice. But she has certain things that she focuses on. So I'm not sure how she would react here. She definitely wouldn't like go number 4. That's definitely not the case. That's not something she would do. I'm gonna go with number 1, I think. Aldrea doesn't seem like the type to be, she's not the type to tell someone to do what they think, so much as she's the type, she would just give them advice. She would tell them what to do. And if they do what she wants, or what she tells them, then that's fine. And if they decide not to do what she tells them, then that's fine too. Right? She doesn't care whether you take her advice. But she is going to give it regardless. So I think I'm going to go with number 1. I think, because I do think that it would be in the best interest of everyone that this trade deal not go the way. I also think that, that these people might not go through with it either, because these people are at more risk of a Deerwood reprisal than the other guys, than the Republic is. But anyway, I'm going to go with number 1, because these guys are just subject to the legacy as well, I think. So, we'll go with number 1. Going to save this. And we will continue on a Menfoth Deathwell. So.
Another Estramore. What do you want?
Careful, this woman's young for an elder and looking to prove herself, I think. I'm gonna go with number 2. None of your business. Like, I came walking into your house, and it's none of your business why I'm here. Oh, okay, then get out of my house. Oh, that was a quick conversation.
Few Estramoran are given the freedom of our sacred city. That you ask for this person is suspicious. There are reasons we don't let you Estramoran roam our sacred city. Reasons I am coming to understand.
I already know that someone who was allowed into the city got into a place that they're not supposed to be in. I already know that, and it's not illustrated in any of these options. I don't remember the specifics, but someone, I think, got into one of the ruins. Like, they bypassed the guards and got into the ruins or something. Let's see. I'm gonna go with number 5. I'm afraid not. This is exactly what I was expecting her to say.
Looters have grown bolder at the sites of the builders. The people of Defiance Bay set fire to their own city. And every week, the 3 Tusk Stelgar bring news of more desperate settlers pushing at our borders, trying to escape their plague of Anolfane children.
Suddenly you feel the presence of someone else in the hall. Diana Manthoth continues to glare at you, but something has stepped out of her skin. It reaches out to you.
Permitting more strangers the freedom of the city is out of the question right now. Go and be thankful that Anamthoth Shimak doesn't sit in the passage of the Six today. He would not be so kind as I.
That is not her. Vision of an Orlan man appears near Bethwell. He has the same brown fur and hazel eyes as she does. Help me reason with them. He points behind you. Turning, you see the ghostly shapes of 5 other Anamfatha. Another Orlan with a tawny fur and a scarred face, a frowning dwarf, a black-furred Orlan, and 2 elves. Okay, I'm gonna go with number 2, I guess. Are the outrages I listed for you not enough? Trouble brews, and none of it is my choosing. Oh, so I'm talking to her while this fucking person's here. Okay, that's weird. Okay, so the spectral... I thought I was talking to the Orlan. So... Tendrils of essence strain between them. And he grimaces and leans forward as if struggling against a gale. War, the spectral Orlan's voice is a rasping hiss, croak. They're headed for war. Remind them of Fairwilt's Morning. Okay, I'm going to go with number 1. Fairwilt's image gasps. Taut threads of essence tug at him, drawing him back into the Ahriman-Thoth. He looks up at you again. I tried to tell them. The builders' souls have touched even the Estra Morwen.
You'd better explain yourself.
I'm going to go with number 1.
There's no way you could have known this saying. Not unless you are a Galuth on Anams, a watcher of souls.
There's no reason to say number 1 because she already knows. I'm going to go with number 2.
Feralt's warning came before the Broken Stone War. Feralt, my ancestor on my mother's side, was Anamthoth of our tribe then. When the Estramoric farmers defiled the builders' monuments, Feralt urged the other Anamthotha to patience, but louder, angrier voices prevailed. Feralt believed that the invaders could be taught to respect the builders as we do. He also believed the builders' souls had spread to all peoples, and that we should avoid needless conflict with others. More practically, he worried that a violent response would only spur further bloodshed across the generations, and you can see where we are today.
So the Hollowborn is not a phenomenon that they have to deal with, it looks like, so... Go number 2.
While Feralt's words were shrewd, they were ignored back then. Simply remembering his warning now will not undo the wars and the changes that the years have seen. There is blood on these stones, and that is all anyone remembers now.
An image of a polished Adra cube flashes into your mind. There is writing on the sides, but the image is too faint for you to read it. The Ahriman-Thoth turns away from you and looks at the ground, gnawing a pointed claw. Number 1. Yes, that is the problem.
Another Estramor came through here a few days ago and, well, letting him through was a mistake. One I am eager not to repeat. The Guided Compass tribe has a reputation for being too soft with Estramoran. One that will not be improved by my failure to stop this man who has desecrated our most sacred sites.
You go number 1.
I won't repeat a mistake in my haste to correct it. We bar Twin Elms from Estramoran to protect the ancient places that the builders left behind. The builders left this heritage to us to defend, but they alone had access to it. On this much, at least the 6 tribes agree.
You again see the polished Adra cornerstone in your mind. This time the image is clearer. Each face of the stone is inscribed with a phrase you know by heart. You feel your lips form words. A gift from the builders of civilization to the guardians of their legacy. May the guardians watch the door while the builders keep the key.
These were the words given to the keepers of the stone.
Do I know? I guess it doesn't say lie, so I guess I can say I know. And that is the case.
Very well. The city is yours to explore. Tell the guard at the gate that you come to see the cornerstone with the blessing of the Guided Compass. If the gods have truly returned one of the builders to us, find the Delimgon of Ter Evron in Elm's Reach. If the gods have sent you here with a purpose, the Delimgon will know.
go number 1. Yes, the Valian godlike, blessed of Hylia. So they say. And diplomat of the Duke's Bells. I understand you were sent here with trade assurances from your masters. Reverend Alamanthus, it is true that I was chosen to convey these assurances, but understand that I was fashioned more for war than etiquette. In these dangerous times, perhaps it is better to send warriors to do diplomats' work. So, I'm curious about this. I guess she's a paladin. She's not exactly used to the whole lying thing. She just said that she's not comfortable with diplomacy, so I would think that it's not going to be too suspicious if I do number 1, right? Like, so I think I'm going to go with number 1, and we'll go with that, and we'll see how it works, because she seems like basically I don't want to give up the game to the person that the reason that she's uncomfortable is because she's lying, as opposed to the fact that she's a fighter, not a diplomat. So anyway, we'll go with number 1. The Republics feel it would be in the best long-term interest of all parties if you maintained your traditional goods trades with the Deerwood. A strange turn. What do the Republics want, then? Ta'undra Tara Pearls. Trade will be picking up quickly on them in the Eastern Reach. You will buy them exclusively from us for the next 5 years. In exchange, we will be your exclusive market in Adraban and Karagolon for the same period. An interesting proposition, Valian. We will send emissaries south to discuss the details at greater length. Your appearance here speaks well of your Duke's intentions. Revered Alamanthus.
That's it. My position in the Brotherhood gone. I can't believe I just made up new trade terms to the Glanfath and Anamenfath. Postenago.
I'm gonna go with number 1.
Verus. They have a saying in Biajepe. New gold clears even the oldest debts. If I'm right, all will be forgiven. If not, there's nothing I can do about it now.
Okay, so we just gained quests. We got experience for the Child of 5 Sons. And we'll see how that goes. So we have a lot of experience left to gain.
A fatigued mind is a weakened one.
So who is this?
What brings you here?
What kind of courtesy have you learned in your filthy homeland? We speak of Glanfathan matters. Begone! Still your heart would I. Do not forget where you stand. In the house of our ancestors in the 6 tribes, we commune as one people. The ancestors will forgive me and my brother when I clean the shame away from his name, and from the taint it has brought to our tribe. Okay, well, what happened? My brother Fiorm is the greatest hunter of our tribe. He set out on a blood hunt but hasn't returned, and now Arthwin, that puny liar, he claims that my brother... Arthwin belongs to another tribe. He is the hunter that competed against Fiorm during their blood hunt. Arthwin claims that Fiorm has exiled himself, deciding not to return to Twin Oaks. Yeah, that's likely. Exiled in shame for losing to him during the blood hunt. Can you believe this liar? Even though Arthwin returned with the giant Stelgare's Fang as proof, it's hard to believe that Fiorm would have failed to kill the prey first. But you cannot claim that yet, Rudai. Not until the Anamanfath judge the truth. Arthwin's weak, from a lower tribe. He lies. I find the truth and clear my brother's name. So why do you do that? Why? Rudai, please, still your anger. She does not know our customs. Your customs of lying? Arthwin stands much to gain from claiming a victory over Fiorm. It brings renown and glory to his kin, a lesser tribe, the twice-split arrows. Arthwin has no history, no name, and now he returns a hero while my brother. Tricked, perhaps worse. Okay, how do you plan to fix this? I can't tarry here while my brother's fate remains unknown. The Anamvatha must let me go. To judge Arthwin and to clean our tribe's name, they cannot listen only to your truth. Before the Anamvatha, only an impartial voice can speak for what happened. You mean to involve this one and Estremor? Listen to me now. Arthwin returned. With proof! Your brother did not even come back. The tribes are split. Something must be done. And this one is known to speak the truth. Oh, well, apparently I'm known for this. Okay, I'll find out what happened. You speak with the spirit of a Glanfathan hunter. The Anamvatha would agree to listen. There's no union between you and our tribes. Fiorm and Arthwin went to the Northweald Forest, beyond the Old Song Pass, to hunt a giant Stilgar. Search there and return to us with the truth if you can, but be aware, Stilgar of such size, many times over their lesser kin, usually gather a big pride that follows them closely. Estremor, I don't expect help, but I'll do anything to know my brother's fate and clean the stain that Arthwin has spilled on our tribe. Anything, this I claim. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's save this. Now, have I found anything about this? So I'll go talk to Arthwin.
Got it.
Is this a person that I need to worry about? Nope. Just a random tribe. So, let's see. We have a lot of stuff to deal with outside the city, but we also have to deal with the stuff in the city as well. So, let's see. I think I'm going to do the stuff in the city first. So this guy is in Elm's Reach. He is not my initial priority, however. I think I had something for a companion. So, memory. Okay, I could talk to her.
Your thoughts must flow deeply indeed. Your mind comes bearing questions, Watcher.
So, Celestial Sapling we've been to. Which character did we have? So, forest surrounded by blackened trees and crumbling ruins. Okay, so I guess we'll just go to Elm's Reach first. Oh, what's up? Still, Estremor, the rest of the city is forbidden except by order of one of the Anamvatha. Trespassing in Twin Elms is punishable by death. I'm gonna go number 1. Always too cozy with the Estremor when. Go then and mind your step around the sacred stones. Yes, sir. So, I can get to Old Song and to this place. I think I needed to go to Old Song in order to get to that other place. So Northweald, is that the... Oh, is that where that person went? Let's see. So... Okay, well, we'll go to this place first. And we will talk to this guy. We'll see what he has to say. So there's basically two options. The first is that they're telling the truth. It's entirely possible that he won the fight and the other guy was extremely... He was so upset over it that he exiled himself. I could see that happening in a society like this. The other possibility is that he killed him and took the Fang after he had already, you know, after the thing was done, which I find probably more likely. So, why track the beast when you could track the tracker? Okay, so I'm going to ask this guy his story. Tell me a story, sir. A lanky hunter grooms his stubble, a patch of fuzz and blonde hairs, while listening attentively to a young elven woman. She whispers in his reddened ears and giggles. With his head still lowered, he flashes a wide smile in return. I've been expecting you. My tribesman has told me that you're to speak the truth about Fiorm's exile. Well, Arthwin doesn't hide from the truth. Ask and I'll answer. Alright, so, tell me about your tribe, buddy. We're young, the youngest tribe in Erglanfoth, but we're not weak. The other tribes have their history, and now we, the Twice-Split Arrows, are making ours. We're true Glanfothans, true hunters. I've proved my worth. Our worth, rather. It was me, not Fiorm, who killed the giant Stilgar. So what happened to him? Fiorm. Every tribe knows his prowess, a hunter of great name, but this time he fell behind. We spotted a giant Stilgar in Sentinel's Ridge above the waterfall of Northfield. It was stalking for prey. Fiorm wanted us to split. He'd lure the beast to the river, and I'd flank it. But the beast didn't come down to the riverbank, so we tried to circle it on the ridge. I climbed faster, and there it was, ready to pounce on me. I pierced flesh mid-air, rolled over, and stabbed it again and again. And it was dead. Fiorm couldn't believe he didn't earn a kill, not even a cut. He said he'd not return with the shame of losing to a twice-split arrow. I pleaded, but he was a keeper of the stone. He'd not listen. And now he's exiled. Who knows where. Interesting. So that's a story. You know, I wonder if I need to have someone with survival skill in my party.
Ready,
she's a hunter. She has survival. 12 survival?
Sure.
Lady, you are going to be my friend in this quest, because I have a suspicion that I'm going to need to do, if you recall the scene from, that movie called Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I don't remember the name of Lord of the Rings. Don't judge me. With Aragorn, and the hobbits went over here, and then they went over here. What's her name? Zagani is going to pull that crap over here. It's going to be awesome. So, I need to go this way and find a ghost.
You have stayed true to our cause, Inquisitor, when so many others have not. For every heretic we confess, for every betrayer that burns on our pyres, new sheep continue to flock to Iavara ex Incios. But not you. I underestimated you in the beginning, but no longer. It is not for honor that I summoned you today, but for duty. Too many of our own have confessed upon the wheel and the rack and the flame. Too many of our faithful have had their minds poisoned by the Kratom Witch. The tide is against us now. We have but one option. Iavara's following must see her exposed for what she is. She must confess her heresy before my court. Not in Kratom, surely. Their lord has embraced her heathen faith and protects her with his army. But in Oceanus, things would be different. The king of Oceanus is a sinful man. We have helped him to see the error of his ways, and now he fears for his soul. He would pay any price for absolution. You have already done much for the Inquisition. I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
So... that doesn't sound promising for me. Okay, two identical women seem to fade into view as they move away from the great trees that camouflage them. Their skin is tree bark, ridged and scaly, wreathed in a curling tangle of roots, buds, and blooms. Their hair hangs beneath a shade of serrated leaves like drooping branches of the elms above. The pupils of their eyes are encircled by hundreds or even thousands of concentric rings as if to mark the accumulated wisdom of millennia.
Turn around, flesh creature. Outsiders are not permitted to approach the elms.
Do you not feel it, sister? Something familiar. An ancient soul, like the other one. Another defiler, no doubt. Let us fell him and be troubled no more. It would pay the debt of his predecessor. I'm a girl. Don't tell anyone.
Wow, I'm surprised that they made an error like this in the voice acting.
So it would seem, Rhiannon. But we must not hasten to judgment. I see a different motive here. Different questions in these eyes.
What of it, young trespasser? Is it as my sister says? Or are you here to stain this place with foul deeds?
That's awesome. Gonna go number one.
There, by his own admission, Sheetha.
Jesus, come on.
Really, sister? And you wonder why your leaves begin to fall out before midsummer. Clearly that man did not want to be followed. Whatever the relationship here, I suspect it is anything but cordial.
It might be because one of the other characters is in front, but I don't think so. I think that they exclusively talk to the main character. So I'm actually really surprised, because this is the first time that I've been in a conversation where they got the gender.
The answer is yes, Old One. We crossed paths with Theos not long ago, and we can tell you where he went. But I find it curious that anyone would seek him out. Suspicious, even. If we are to help you find him, we would know why.
I'm gonna go with number 2. It's the most relevant reasoning. There's actually several reasons here that are relevant that you could just as easily say. But this seems to be the most relevant.
So that is the reason he passed this way. This is low, even for the Leaden Key.
I told you we should have confronted him, Sheila. He has always been a poison.
It would have been the last thing we ever did, sister. Who can be said to have ever gotten the better of Theos?
Yes, but imagine how much fun it would have been. Can't you just picture him all strung up in vines like an angry little puppet?
But that's not what this is really about, is it? You are bound to that man. I see it now. You are awakened. Your soul is awake and something once buried deep now wells to the surface. Past overwhelms present, closes in around you. Your time has nearly reached its end.
What?
I am sorry to tell you this, but Theos cannot give you what you seek. Nor can any man. An awakening cannot be undone, any more than your past can be undone.
What's she mean? I thought Merwald said... What? But that can't be right. Not after everything. There must be someone else we can ask. I'm sorry. Madicho, there must be some way. To be chained to such a past. A bitter and grievous thing, Watcher. Well, I don't know about all of them. This is such a sissy thing to say. I'm sorry, but there need to be more options than this. There are plenty of ways to have other responses to this that are not such... Aldrea would never say this. I'm going to pretend that this was never said.
The soul is formless without a past to shape it. Did you truly expect to be able to wipe it away?
I'm gonna go with number 2. Because clearly I did some really horrible things in that past life. Noble thought, but for the lifetimes that separate you and your problems.
However, as much as my sister speaks truly that there is no way back from an awakening, there may yet be a way forward. Would you agree, Shiva? I would. Were the way not so likely to end in death.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go with number 1. Like, number 3 is something she might think, but it's not something she would say.
The man Theos you must already know by now. You are linked by a common past. Something about it lingers within you, festering, unresolved. What it is I cannot see any more than you. And without that knowledge, your doom is certain. But were you to learn the source of this discord, perhaps it could be put to rest. Though it is equally possible it will trouble you as much now as it did then, and merely speed your condition to its end. You might wait for it to come on its own, of course, but when it comes, it will replace your sanity's last breath. Such is the nature of your condition. Or you could learn it from someone who already knows. It is said the gods made his memory perfect, that he may never forget his charge. If he ever knew, he still does. Not that he would tell you, of course. You have followed the right person for the wrong reason, it seems. We see it often beneath the elms. The soul dragging mind and body to unknown places for unfathomable reasons. You may have wandered into Theos's path many times, in many lifetimes, without an awakening to show you why. The only thing that's certain is you did not find what you sought. He has gone down beneath the tower to a place older than we, where the people of Engwith once walked. He makes his way to the buried city, Sun and Shadow. May he stay down there and rot with the remains of his people. He may yet. He won't be returning the way he came, that much is certain. He opened a secret path in the tower's base, and saw it destroyed behind him through some vile means. We know of one. On the burial isle, through the court of the penitents, Braeth Yaman. A shortcut, in fact. Don't be cruel, sister. The way my sister speaks of is not for the faint of heart. A great pit at the center of a forgotten court, where faiths were judged in place of crimes. To most, it is simply a gateway to death. With the help of the gods, it can take you where you want to go.
Okay.
The pit is said to have been a means of judgment by the gods. Those cast into it are meant to die. It is that way you must pass to reach Sun and Shadow. The court is old. We do not know much for certain, but it would seem only the gods themselves can grant passage. No more than a ruin now. It is older than we, a place for the trial of heretics. We were not here to witness it, but at one time there was a group that refused to acknowledge the gods. Neither the first nor the last, of course, but these were numerous and all put on trial for it. Those who did not repent were cast into the pit and imprisoned below. The fall killed them, of course. The prison was not for people but for their souls, and their sentences were eternal. It is said that many of the condemned repented and were permitted by the gods to ascend from the pit, so long as they pledged their service to one of them. But these are old legends.
Number 2.
Behind us is Ter Evron, said to pierce the shroud itself and a place of communion with all gods. If ever there was a time for prayer, you have found it. None.
Can I go with 2 ways?
I would pray first to those gods you like best. I hope for your sake the feeling is shared. What do you wish to know?
I'm gonna go to number 2. A soul has a will all its own. Its needs and whims are seldom understood, but they follow them all the same.
There is something about this place that reaches beyond our understanding, something like a beacon. The elms have a way of uniting souls that have been seeking one another, with or without their owner's awareness. Sometimes it is for love, sometimes for vengeance, sometimes for peace. Often it is for no reason we will ever know. In your case, let us hope it is for peace.
Or vengeance.
Let's go 3.
There is little to be said about us, for we are bound here, caretakers and defenders of this place. Our journey has been over time, but not distance, measured in observations, but not experiences. We have seen the elms grow tall. We have seen cities built, burned, and built again. The only constant has been the tower, a silent companion through the ages. You can imagine why this recent destruction has stirred my sister so.
If you do nothing else, make that man pay for what he did here.
Alright, I'm gonna go number 5.
Before you go, tell me this, old one. I'm curious. If you were to subdue your enemy, what would you do with him? What would give you peace?
I think I'm gonna go with number 5. There's a lot of stuff that she doesn't know at this point, but I think that it's definitely number 5 for now.
You would need to have twice as many lifetimes as he to repair his savage work.
But perhaps there are strides you could make.
All the same, think on this matter. Be assured in your course. In the end, it may mean all the difference, not just to his soul, but to yours. And be warned. Some questions have answers that can never be learned, and it is those that trouble the soul above all others. May you find an answer to yours.
Okay, so they say that we need to get the approval of the deities in order to go where we're going. This seems kind of like we're on the fast track to the end of the game, actually. I'm actually very surprised. I was thinking that I had a lot longer to go. So... right, so... we completed the thinger. And... let's go. I have a lot of reputation. Which makes sense. One of the things that's interesting about people is that they tend to have a lot of different faces that they wear for different purposes. So that's just repeat. So what is Blood Sands? So we can talk to this keeper, Garrost guy. We are going to definitely need to take a nap before we continue. Your sacrifice feeds the land, supplicants come forth. Estremor, your kin doesn't come here to share with the tribes. What do you want? I guess I'm gonna go there too. That's who we are. As I said, Estremor rarely visit our halls. Our order has thrived for generations. Before we came to Twin Elms, our rights fed the lands of the Eastern Mountains. Now we share the blood for Eric Lonfoth. To everything that must end, our sacrifices bring a new beginning. We sustain what's to come. Okay, tell me about that. Everything must die to return anew, Estremor. Through the sacrificial rites, we offer supplicants the honor of giving their most precious gift back to their brethren, back to the land. The blood gives us strength. Even the Glonfothans have come to depend on the blood paint. They brim with power before battle, all thanks to the sacrifices of their kin. Interesting. The Glonfothans call this place Blood Sands. We call it home. The Ethnic Knoll have tended the land from within this cave since before the arrival of the tribes to Twin Elms. Be warned, Estremor, we bleed life to nurture it. Our sacrifices may strike you as savage, but the heart of these lands depends on them, and it's unseemly for guests to insult their hosts. I didn't say anything. Interesting. These guys seem to be completely nuts, so I don't know that we need to continue talking to these guys. So these guys basically take soul energy that has been sacrificed by an individual. Petitioner before you, swaddled in loose-fitting robes, her hair above the wall. Joyous day to you. I am Nako Binbifen, Lawyer Keeper. Interesting. Her hands run across the slight bulge in her belly. She rolls her head back and sighs a relaxed purr. Weird. Guess one. Flawless! Apologies, I should be left to my meditation. The rite of strength is invigorating, almost overwhelming to the senses. Weird. They seem to have flame blights. That's never a good sign. Save this. By the way, this is something that Aldrea would find revolting, because these people are not using their own strength, they're utilizing the strength of someone else. This is something that would be frankly appalling to her. She would just be disgusted by the weakness demonstrated. So that is the sacrificial pool, probably. Oh, right, the alarm went off. So, whoops. Okay, so rather than, you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish up this room and then just this area of the map, so that we can end in a place that is coherent. Unless people randomly start attacking us, in which case we will obviously have to end on that cliffhanger. So here's Keeper Weirda.
Hail, Estromor.
Welcome to Blood Sands. It's rare that an Estromor sets foot in these caverns. What brings you here, I wonder? So I guess I'll go to number 1. I sell and maintain certain goods for the preservation of our order, and I perform some of our ritual sacrifices. So how do they work? Like any worthwhile ritual, it's too complex to explain in detail. It involves clotting the supplicant's essence, binding it to their life's blood, and drawing it into the container or vessel. Interesting. The raw bloody heart of, I guess it's probably this is, the raw bloody heart of Erlanfoth, where some come to give their essence back to their people, where others seek a noble escape from their trials. The legacy of the builders and the tribes was not merely Adra and stone, but sense of community, and it is here that the Glonfothans come to sacrifice what is most precious, even their own lives, to preserve it. So this is some sort of, yeah, this is some potion. So, interesting. So she's some sort of alchemist.
Yeah.
Bravest sons and daughters fall not by the swords of Estromor, but by the daggers of their brethren. Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm buying that. I don't think it takes a terribly courageous person to decide that life isn't worth the effort.
As your blood flows, so shall your essence. Your life's energy shall feed the soil, and your soul's energy shall enrich the community. This is by your own choosing, supplicant?
The dwarf grips the hatchet in both hands and raises it over his head. He throws his shoulders forward and swings the weapon into the elf's chest, connecting it with a meaty thump. Blood gushes around the blade and the sacrifice's screams rend the air. Auroch's shadow. I hope you weren't watching. Kana? Despite his earlier agreement, the elf thrashes atop the stone table, his torso arching while his arms and legs remain tied in place. Meanwhile, the dwarf spreads his arms wide and allows blood to spatter his robes. When the elf is finally silent and still, the dwarf pulls his hatchet from the body and wipes it out on his hand. I think I preferred these rites when they were only words upon a page. Why did I look? It's not as if I didn't expect it. The dwarf wears crimson robes that are stained and streaked with dark patches. Yikes. His face is smooth but lacking youthful elasticity. It's as if the lines and wrinkles have been formed and erased many times over. Hail, Estromor.
No one comes to Blood Sands without a purpose. What is yours?
Well, number 2 is stupid because he didn't murder that man. The man specifically said that this was something that he volunteered for. So, 3. We're a druidic order that has been in Twin Elm since Anglithan times. Our founders came from the White March, seeking a place where we might practice our beliefs in peace, as it were. Yeah, as it were. Unlike most of our Glonfothan brethren, we seek answers in the world around us rather than in the teachings of the gods. We believe that all life has power and that this power can be siphoned and conducted. We are not, as some suggest, madmen and warriors. All of our rituals are conducted with willing participants and through methods that have been tested and refined over the centuries. Hitting people in the chest with an axe? Okay. This allows us to create the war paint for which we are respected if not loved. I guess I'll go with number 3. I don't know what those people are. Golden Grove. I remember when Arona came up with that name. Used to be as green as the rest of the forest, you know. We're more similar than they'd like to admit. We both believe in achieving power without the double-edged aid of the gods. But their fantasy is pure creation, something from nothing. They blind themselves to the fact that all life, from the mightiest dragon to the slimmest blade of grass, requires death. And the greatest ends require the greatest sacrifice. I don't... Aldrea would not believe in that philosophy at all. I guess it depends on your definition of sacrifice. I think I'm going to go with number 1 because this requires a little bit more thought than something that you would be able to respond with immediately. So I guess I'll go with number 1. So, I'm going to go with number 1. We merely believe that in giving up something of value, the energy from the sacrifice can be diverted elsewhere. It is not so different from what folk practice all over the world. If you turn the soil, sail a ship, or move a cart, you must expend energy. We're best known for the practice of kith sacrifice. This is the most potent form of sacrifice because it releases the most energy. We distill the essence of an entire soul into raw power that can strengthen the body, fortify the soul, and extend life. More than a little different from sailing a ship. An interesting perspective, even so. The Glonfothans were never half-hearted in their superstitions, are they? So what's war today? A special unguent binding raw essence to the wearer. It grants incredible advantages in combat and has made us indispensable to the tribes. Whatever they say about our practices, almost all of them have made use of our war paint at some time or another. Fascinating indeed how the most strident objections can be overcome by circumstance. Yeah, number 5. So we'll go with number 4. I don't really need to know anything about him personally. So, we found these people, and they are something that... Basically, this group is something that Aldrea will want to deal with eventually. Eventually, Aldrea is going to want to eliminate this practice because it's disturbing. But in the immediate term, it's not illegal, and it's not something that... They're not, like, going after, like, innocent people and butchering them. They're taking people that are volunteering for it. So, a practice that she would put a stop to eventually, but she's not in a position to do so now. So anyway, that's going to be it for today. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you again next time.